Hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, our friends.
Hello, our 22nd episode.
Yes. So the day that we're recording this is Monday, May 18th, and our 20th episode comes out today. So let's take in a moment of celebration.
Yeah.
Out of silence.
It's amazing. You know, it's also my friend Aaron today, too. He was like, I am so impressed that you guys in just a few months have like 20 episodes out.
And have like over 2,000 downloads.
It's like, it's not easy being new. And especially in these times that we're in right now, it's like.
Yeah, this is a major downturn for the podcast industry, as it is with many industries.
But we're still kicking it. People are still downloading and listening and.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you so much to our guests during this time. We've had like 7 or 8 guests over quarantine and obviously all over Zoom. Don't come for us. But it's just a lot of, it's been a great experience so far. I feel like our launch party was, in some ways it feels like it was yesterday, but in some ways because of this virus shit, it feels like it was 3 years ago. Yeah. I don't know what time is.
It's bizarre to think that was this year, but it was. And
we crazy.
Like January 20th. So actually, wait, February, March, April, May. We're 4 months. We're about to be 4 months in. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. Woo! Just want to say thank you, seriously, to everybody listening, to all our friends and family who support us, and all the strangers, especially the strangers who support us, because we don't plan on stopping, and we're gonna grow this shit, and we're gonna, you know,
live our lives, live our dreams,
live our lives,
vent. Use this as a way to express ourselves and reach out to you guys and talk about what interests us. And speaking of what interests us,
oh my God, this is like an episode after my own heart.
I know. We this is something we've like talked about in our own back in the day when going to bars existed.
Oh my God.
And our
what
drinks.
Is a bar?
I know. We would talk about our favorite conspiracy theories, and we always said we wanted to do an episode and hey, we're in a pandemic quarantine.
We're in a conspiracy theory.
We're in a conspiracy theory. Let's get weird.
Yeah, I mean, like, full disclosure, just so we all know before we start diving into this, I'm crazy. I go
just so you know,
hard.
I'm batshit.
I'm batshit crazy. I go hard in this stuff. And the thing is, you know, when people give other people shit for diving into conspiracy theories, it's like, what? You're so crazy. You're being dramatic. To me, the point is, a lot of they're theories. So a lot of them can just be insane and can be wrong. But for me, the important thing is that people continue to consider things other than what we are told. I think it is extremely important for the evolution of our species and for our cultures that we don't just take what we're told and believe it. Like whether or not each theory is correct. I personally think a number of these have some legs, but even if they don't, I'm like, what I have so much respect for, and I think is really important, is that the process of considering the unknown, considering something crazy, because, you know, to me, what's crazy is like the history books telling me that the Pilgrims and Indians sat down at a fucking table and shared food and got along great. That's crazy. What's not crazy to me is what is not in the history books. You know what I'm saying? I went deep there for a minute.
No. I completely agree. Like there's farce in so many things.
Yeah.
That if you don't open your mind to other possibilities, like you could be, you know, the last one to find out when the truth comes out, if you know what I mean. And
these days people are so like the fact that I even just said Indians instead of Native Americans is because I'm remembering
I didn't even know.
in our books in school, and like I have so many I think that it's extremely naive to assume, like I want to say all this before we dive into these because they're crazy and they're fun and some are probably just complete bullshit and some might not be, but it's like I think it's completely naive to assume that we are not lied to. Like, it doesn't mean we're lied to about everything. It doesn't mean every politician is corrupt. Maybe they are. Yeah. But it's also like, how naive is it to think that the government doesn't have anything that the public doesn't know? Like, come on. It just doesn't make actually logical sense. It's a matter of what those things are, which we obviously don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, come on.
Yeah,
like, be real.
I'm not. I feel like I will be a little bit more skeptical, but it's still something like if I see, and if anybody out there knows Shane Dawson, he's an amazing YouTuber, and he does a lot of conspiracy theory videos. But any conspiracy theory content, documentaries, I eat it up, and it's not like I'll 100% believe it,
right?
But it still entertains the shit out of me, and I love talking about it and seeing other people's take on it. And
I do consider myself pretty skeptical for sure. But I also consider myself like completely open-minded to these things. Right. So it's a double. It's weird. Yeah. It's like, I don't just everything I see in every video I dive into like, whoa, this happened. Like that's not how I think. But I'm also like
the tinfoil hat.
I at least ask myself like, why not? Mm-hmm. And if I can answer why not for myself, then I move on. But if I can't, then it's always like, interesting. It's at least fun to think about.
Yeah. Do you ever think about like, is there a conspiracy theory that you'll come across and you're like, I can't actually believe this because if I do, it's too depressing. Like the 9/11 ones, really, I can't even get into that because if I get into a little bit of that shit, I can't. I'm like, I actually can't believe it, and maybe that's just me.
Yeah,
a bad side of a human.
I mean, I agree that it's like massively depressing. I also maybe I'm just a little bit more cynical because I do think that I think it's the most, if that is true, like that one, for example, if that's true, I think it's the most fucked up and I think it's the most depressing. But I think that there are terrible people out there.
Yeah.
And I don't claim to, with that theory, that conspiracy theory, I don't know. I don't really have a solid opinion on it, but I just like when you bring up that one as an example, I think I'm weird blend of optimist and a cynic because I'm just like, come on, the people who are so power hungry for positions, like the people who should be politicians usually aren't because they don't want that much power because they understand what power actually is in that context. But the ones who chase after it are the ones who usually shouldn't have it. Mm-hmm. And when you get that much power and you're somebody who shouldn't have that much power, that's when fucked up shit happens. Yep. And that's when secrets are held and that's when lives are at stake. And it is dramatic. I know it sounds dramatic, but like our world isn't run by the public.
No, I mean, we're going to also get into coronavirus conspiracy theories, but it's so weird,
dude.
Well,
okay, wait, what?
This is the only thing though. Before we're going to go into other examples, but for the 9/11 one, like I really get skeptical. But a friend of mine, his dad worked in the Twin Towers and he got a call because he had a friend in the FBI that told him not to go into work that day.
Really?
Yeah.
With no reason? Just
that they had maybe some sort of threat.
Wow. That's what I'm saying. Why?
But
it doesn't mean that the exact theory of who did it is correct. Yeah. But it does mean that something was known.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't, because that's the thing. I think people assume that like, well, if you say that, then it means you think the government did it.
Right.
That's connecting too many dots. All it is acknowledging is like, well, the government knew something, whether they knew everything, whether they knew how serious it was going to.
Oh, they know that shit.
All of those things we don't know, but something.
And when it comes to politics, I really like, I 100%. I mean, it's actual fact. It's not a conspiracy theory, but Russians do affect our voting and our elections. They do 100%. Trump has a pee tape. 100% he has a pee tape. He pees or he has hookers pee on him. And there's a video out there. And
I was like, what's a pee tape?
The pee tape. It's out there.
I'm sure. I mean, there's a whole thing.
I believe
about
in that
Epstein,
with all my soul.
Like,
the Epstein.
Is he really dead? Is he even dead? You know what I mean? I've heard,
and how he died. Like, if he died, how it would happen. How the surveillance tapes mysteriously disappeared. They
disappeared. The two guards that were on duty were just happened to be what was their excuse? Not there at the time. Something real flimsy.
I'm surprised I didn't put Epstein down as one of these, but whatever. People, you can look that up.
Well, so
you do the work.
One of the most you do the work. One of the most fascinating things to me is the Mandela Effect, which I learned about a few years ago, and I think it's one of the things that has, of all the documentaries and conspiracy theories we hear about, this one blew my mind like maybe the most when I heard it, because it's an active phenomenon. It's not about a single event. It's happened over time. So the Mandela Effect was dubbed the Mandela Effect in 2010. And it's having memories that don't match with current reality and history. Conspiracy theorists believe that the Mandela Effect is an example of alternate universes present in society. The thing that gives this thing so much wonder and in my mind, validity, at least validity to be, it should be explored, is because it's a mass occurring false memory. It's not like one person has a memory that, oh, I thought it happened this way. It's extreme detail of even big public worldwide events.
Yeah, it's like deja vu on crack.
Yeah, and like thousands of people report it happening one way. No, I know I saw this on TV. It's crazy. And it goes all the way down to like minor things like brand names, logos, lines in movies. But some of them I've read through a million of them. Some of them I'm like, I don't really know. Some of them I swear to God, and I have specific memories about certain things that I know. We'll dive into these, I guess, because this is if you guys like. It
was based off of Nelson Mandela's death, right?
Yeah, that was my first one. So that's what I was going to bring up. That's what it was named after. Many people have reported. So as we know, he died in 2013. That's the way today's history reports it. And so it says many people have reported remembering Nelson Mandela dying in the 1980s while he was in prison instead of 2013. This is like thousands of people reported. They describe remembering news coverage of his death, a televised funeral, and even a speech that he gave from his window about his death, his impending death, like in prison. And yet this never happened. But so that's what the name comes from. But it is the world, this is a world, everyone in the world knows who Nelson Mandela is. Everyone knew what was happening to him. How is something so big and high profile remembered so dramatic? Like, he died in the 80s in prison. You remember seeing his funeral on TV? And
yeah, and I remember reading about this, well, when we were doing the research for this, and the only explanation people can come up with is that there was another activist that a highly publicized one that died around that time that they think people confused him with. Like, there was a murder in that year of that guy, but that's the only one. And
that, to me, it's like that. Okay, that makes sense that would happen. Like, I could mistake that, or you could mistake that. It's very weird to me that so many people specifically confused that. If that's the case.
It's not one or two. It's like a collective. Excuse me. Yeah, it's bizarre. Ones that you knew about this longer than I did. I don't remember what it was that made us that I learned Mandela Effect from, but it might have been like, did we put this on here? But the Berenstain Bear. It's the title of our episode.
I think I told you about it one day. We were talking about this stuff, and I was like, "Oh my God, did you ever see?"
Did you know that it was BerenSTEIN instead of BerenSTEIN?
This on YouTube. Yeah, apparently
it's bullshit. Okay, everyone listening, and if you're our generation millennials that know the Berenstain Bears, and also not, speaking about millennials, we are the demographic for this. Like, we are the largest demographic that notices Mandela effects, which I find interesting.
Because a lot of the logos, a lot of the movies, it's all stuff that happened in the 90s, mainly. Yeah. Mainly, not all. But it makes, if this is an alternate universe, parallel universe type thing, it's almost like there was like a rip or a like crossing over of these universes that happened when we were growing up. Yeah. It's not like it's always happening, because the cases have become smaller over the years, but there was an influx. Like a lot of these movies and logos and everything, it's 90s stuff.
Yeah, but that Berenstain Bear one is like a huge one. So if you know the Berenstain Bears, and I'm going to say BerenSTEIN because goddamn it, it's BerenSTEIN. But it's written Berenstain. It's supposed to be pronounced BerenSTEIN, STAIN. And it's just bizarre because no one remembers it being Berenstain. And that is a huge book in our lives growing up, all of our lives. And Molly, didn't you find somebody that had a copy?
I was just going to say, because I was researching, I was like, no way. Like, I remember my mom reading this. I was like, so I was, researching it. And this girl found, she's like, no, there's no way. She was going through books, her childhood books in her attic, and posted a picture online. She found a Berenstain Bears book, and it was EIN. She had the actual copy. I mean, and something, that photo, because everyone's like, well, it's photoshopped. And that photo was sent and, what's it called? It was tested and it was, what's the word? They were basically
focus group?
They professionally had it tested and said that it wasn't photoshopped and it was an actual photo. Because they were like, people are, of course, are going to say we photoshopped this.
Right.
Whatever. But, she found it in her childhood books and was like, I know it was this way when I was growing up. And somebody else there's one, I didn't put this in here and you didn't either, but Sex in the City. I remember it being Sex in the City. And I always knew I remembered it that way, but then I was like, I must have just been crazy because it's Sex and the City. But then I also saw online, somebody posted, they had some old merchandise from the store. It was like a perfume or whatever from Target that was like Sex in the City merchandise, and it said Sex in the City.
Yeah. And it's like weird. Not all of these are rooted in like, oh well, maybe they just rebranded at one point and it's deeper than that, because then it's easy for them to be like, oh yeah, we rebranded, we instead of BerenSTEIN we went to BerenSTEIN, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Or Sex and the City sounded more so we eventually changed it. No, no one has ever come out and said anything like that.
Well, no, and if you go back, and look at if you research the earliest branding of Sex and the City, it says Sex and the City. That's why this is a theory. It's like, it's trivial stuff. Like, why would it matter if you said, oh yeah, it used to be this? I don't think it's like the brand is doing something secretive. I think it's just like, like alternate realities. Well, here's another one from our time. Smokey the Bear.
How do you guys Smokey the Bear? It's Smokey the Bear. No,
Smokey the Bear.
It's Smokey Bear. That's it.
No,
never in any of those ads, in any commercial you've seen, his name is Smokey Bear, not Smokey the Bear.
That's insane.
I'm sorry. In ads and I remember seeing in like Scholastic book fairs and little flyers and stuff, it's always been Smokey the Bear. And it makes you feel crazy.
It makes you feel crazy. There was a Mr. Rogers one where I used to sit in front of the TV with my dad eating purple popsicles and watching Mr. Rogers. Okay. Specific memories that I have from life. And it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. That's how it went. It's not the neighborhood. It's this neighborhood, apparently. He never was like, it's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. No.
I've never heard this ever.
No, me neither. But if you look it up, the official record, that's always what it's been.
Have you looked up a video of him singing it? I wonder if like now you'll hear this.
I don't know. So I have another one in here that's like a major historical thing that really, really messed with me when I watched this video. Whatever, I have to find it. I'm sure there are a lot of YouTube videos on the Mandela Effect, but the one I watched for the first time, I was like, what? Tiananmen Square. So this was a protest in 1989.
Oh yeah, I don't know about this one.
Yeah, this one was crazy. I mean, that's the year I was born, so we were like not conscious. But the 1989 Tiananmen Square protest is one of the biggest historical examples of this. And this is crazy because it's another major world event, high profile, like you can't, whatever. Okay, so thousands of people have recalling a different chain of events at this worldwide public event. Many recall one of the most horrifying pieces of video of a man being approached by a tank and subsequently run over, when in fact the still unidentified man spoke to a crew member of the tank before being forcibly removed from the tank's path. So he was protesting. He stood in front of a military tank.
And he was removed.
What actually happened? Yeah, they showed him like speaking to whoever was inside the tank, and then he was forcibly removed and the tank moved on. But one woman in this video I watched, she talked specifically about being in school when the event was happening. She said she was 6th or 7th grade. It was on the television in the classroom. She said that the class watched in horror as the man was run over, and you could see blood all over the street right before the teacher rushed to turn off the TV. And the whole class, like, I mean, that's traumatic. If you're 12 years old, you remember seeing that on TV, you're going to remember it. Mm-hmm. She said that they saw the tank roll over him, and when the tank moved by, they could see all the blood on the street where he was. And the teacher like was not it was, I remember when 9/11 happened, I was that age, like 11 or 12, and they had the TVs on in school, and the teachers were, because everyone wanted to have it on, but of course the teachers are monitoring what's being shown, but at the same time, they don't know what's going to be shown because it's actively happening. But she's like, the second it ran over him, the teacher was like, oh my God, ran to the TV screen, and the kids saw the blood on the street. And her classmates, she reached out to her classmates from back then, and everybody remembered that. It's weird. And another thing that I thought of after reading her take was that it's very weird that if the man did survive, as current history claims, then why would he still be unidentified? And I was like, wait, is this an example? This is totally me just going off the cuff in my mind, but I'm like, what if this is an example of like the two realities becoming entangled, where he didn't get run over in our reality now, he didn't get run over, but he has never been identified. Mm-hmm. And if in the other reality he gets run over and he's gone, what if we're in this weird entanglement where he didn't get run over, but he's still gone? But he's still like something
dead.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, it wasn't just her, like literally thousands of people have reported remembering seeing him get run over on TV. And that is a dramatic thing to say you remember. A tank running over a person. That's not just like, oh, I remember seeing Mandela's funeral.
And the blood, like that's so graphic. You would remember that. Graphic. Why would people make up seeing blood? Why would you want, it's also like memories. Right. It's one thing if you wanted to remember something happy, Yeah. It's like, why would you put in your brain something so traumatic?
And like you said about, there's a theory about Mandela's funeral where it's like, well, it could have confused him with another popular activist at the time. Right. There's no other televised situation of a protest where a tank runs over a person. That's no.
I really want to do an episode on wormholes. Maybe we can get a scientist or something, because I feel like that has to be,
Yeah.
I know I don't want to be too tinfoily, but it's like.
But see, that's another thing that like we are also like, I mean.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is like, we're programmed to like think that anybody who thinks this way is crazy because it's not what we're supposed to think.
I know. What are we supposed to think? Who's telling us what to think? Like you said, history books say one thing, like our history books growing up, it's already going on another tangent from what you were talking about earlier, but a lot of those paint America in such a beautiful fucking light when other countries have their history books painting us in a more honest light, and, maybe their own countries in a better light. It's just, whatever is spoon fed to you is going to be convenient.
Yeah, and the victors write history,
and not honest.
And historically, that's white men. They, that's the truth of like. It's not like there's not a grain of truth in the history books, but really, like the way things played out is just incorrect in so many school. Like we're taught that Lincoln freed the slaves because he just had such an empathy for African Americans. No, he did it for political gain, because if he didn't have their votes, he wasn't going to get, the North wasn't going to win. That's like a whole separate thing. But like nobody knows that. We're not told that. And most of the people who do know that are Black people who have researched it or been told it and looked into it. But it's like, yeah, he signed an emancipation deal, but it wasn't for moral reasons. It was political gain. Mm-hmm. He was losing. And if he freed the slaves, they would be on the North side, obviously. So he'd get more. It was just a whole thing. Yeah. We're just, if anything, it's like, believe what I'm saying or don't, or what we're bringing up or don't, but just like think for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And also trust your sources. at the same time as well.
Know where your know what your sources
You know,
are.
I just think about the protests that are going on right now. I'm sure they're going on whenever you're listening to this, about the people who are like out in the streets. And we're going to talk about coronavirus conspiracies later, but there's people like that don't believe this exists, and then it's the government, and that you know, and this is all just for everybody trying to get Trump, and it's like
right
it's exhausting. But ones that aren't exhausting, well, maybe they are in other ways, but a little bit lighter. Like movies that we loved as a kid.
Oh my God.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Now, how do you remember?
One trips me up.
Yeah, how do you remember the evil witch? What she says?
She says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall."
Yeah, who's
and I
the
always
fairest
thought it
of
was
their
funny
wall?
that the word was repeat. I remember that as a little girl.
Wait, what did I put? Evil Queen says the phrase "mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" But that's not what the villain says. The actual line is mirror. Oh, the actual line is not mirror, mirror on the wall. It's magic mirror on the wall.
No, it's not. Like, what?
That's so weird. Even as I was reading my own notes on it, I couldn't wrap my head around it. I was like, wait,
Yeah.
no, wait, what? And I wrote the damn note. It's magic mirror on the wall. Sorry, what?
No, it's not. And that thing, the weird thing is like, you know, of course, the point of this phenomenon is that if you look it up, you go, like, if you go rent or Disney Plus or whatever, Snow White, it says magic mirror. That's what they're saying, is like our reality that exists now is not what all these people remember. So it's a very weird thing. I understand, like, it's not something that you can just prove right or wrong. But when people, for example, find, you know, like that Berenstain Bears book or like some old merchandise of something, then it makes you question it. I know. So the Oscar Mayer truck, like the hot dog brand, I have a specific memory from this, which makes me like certain. We had a family friends that were the Myers, Meyer. And we're really close with them. And I remember being on a road trip with my family, and we passed by an Oscar Mayer semi truck, and it had their logo on the side. And I remember saying to my mom, I was like, "Mom, it's Myers. It's spelled just like Jim and Deb." And my mom, I know. And she looked over and she's like, "Yeah, it's exactly the same." And I remember looking at it, and for years, I always, whenever I saw Oscar Mayer, I would think of the Myers. I think of Jim and Deb because it was spelled just like their name. But apparently it's Oscar Mayer, Mayer.
Well, you know what's, so I never told you, but my take on this is weird because when I was a kid, I'd always beg my parents to send me to auditions, and they'd be like, no. But there was a local audition, like an open call for kids to do an Oscar Mayer commercial. And I didn't go to the audition. My parents didn't let me, but I had, it was to sing the song. Do you remember the song?
Oh, I wish I were an Oscar Mayer.
Well, there's another one. My baloney has a first name. It's O-I-C-A-R. My baloney has a second name. It's
M-E-Y.
Yeah. So
right?
So in my brain, I cannot remember. It's like someone wiped it out, and I knew this song. M-E-Y-E-R. Like, I could have sworn I would sing it all the time because I wanted to audition and be one of the Oscar Mayer kids.
Oh my God, I forgot that their song was the actual spelling of their brand.
Wait, my baloney has a first name, it's O-S-C-A. My baloney has a second name, it's M-A-Y-E-M-E-Y-E-R. I mean, it sounds, M-E-Y-E-R sounds right, and M-A-Y-E-R sounds right.
Yeah.
It's like someone wiped my fucking memory.
That's really weird.
I know.
And I know, like,
so the spelling was a thing.
Why would I have brought it up to my mom in the car if it wasn't the same spelling as our family friends? I wouldn't have cared then.
Also, why did they make a commercial specifically to spell out their own brand?
That's so weird.
Like, why did they need that? Why did they need to drill that into our brains? Why did they really need?
Do you remember Jif peanut butter? I always wanted name brand
Jiffy.
smooth peanut butter because it was Jiffy.
Jiffy.
It was Jiffy peanut butter.
Yeah.
And I always wanted it because my mom would go to this co-op and like grind her own peanut butter, which I think is awesome. And now I like that much better. When I was little, you know, my friends would have Jiffy peanut butter at their house, and we'd be in the store. Mom, can we get Jiffy? Can we get Jiffy?
I was a Jiffy. We had Jiffy in the house.
Yeah.
But it's
Jif. Never been Jiffy. It's always been Jif. And you know what? It was like when I moved to LA, like I remember being in a store and I never really like, I guess in college I wasn't like buying peanut butter. I don't know. It was one of the first when I started really grocery shopping for myself, like an adult. I remember being in the store and being like, specifically being like, I wonder when they changed that. Like, I wonder when it became Jif. Because I knew it was Jiffy. So
I wonder,
weird.
what is it? Are we just all like in our heads smarter than these advertisers or these companies? Because we're like, no, maybe Jiffy is just is what it should be. It's just easier to say. It's fun for kids to say, and you're wrong. That's why in our heads we invented Jiffy, because it's just
why would a better name? Why would like thousands of people invent the same thing?
Jiffy.
Because like it's
because we were all kids and Jiffy was a cute way to say it. I don't know. But like, why would we say mirror, mirror instead of magic mirror?
Right. I remember thinking that it was funny that she said mirror, mirror. And I was like, that's like a lot of poetry. That's like how they repeat words for no reason. I remember being like, that's like a poem. That's because she says mirror, mirror
on the wall. Yeah.
There was the Star Wars. So movie lines are crazy. Like so many people remember that famous quote from Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back. Remember the line as Luke, I am your father. Mm-hmm. However, Darth Vader actually says, I am your father. There is no Luke. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, so I don't have a memory of that one.
I know, we're so sad, but I actually saw the first one for the first time like a few months ago.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it and being like, what the fuck? He says, no, I am your father, and not Luke.
No, I am your father. Yeah, that's what he said. And
yeah,
I mean, I'm not a Star Wars fan, but for my whole life, I heard that as the line.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But what the fuck?
What the fuck? There's another one, Silence of the Lambs. Have you ever seen Silence of the Lambs?
Dude, yes.
Oh, yeah, you love horror movies.
Remember that line.
She, the hello, Clarice.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that, right? Everyone knows the hello, Clarice. Guess what?
Hello, Clarice.
Never said not once. He's never said in any adaptation, because they've had like sequels. In any adaptation of that movie, he's never said the words, hello, Clarice.
That's not true. That was like the movie. That was like the chilling part of the movie.
I'm like thinking, was there a parody? So like, and that's the thing too. It's like we can get, lines confused or people confused. Maybe we can just be like, okay, well, we got that confused. We added a fee at the end of Jiffy. Like we got things confused. But like people are also making up things like the Tiananmen Square that like there's that we completely are making things up in our head that never existed, not switching things around.
Yeah, like some are weirder to me than others. Like, I fully acknowledge, like I could be, even the ones I'm certain about, I'm like, I could, I was a kid. I could be remembering things different, but I think it's weird that a lot of people do. Then there are ones like Tiananmen Square where I'm like, that is different. That's way different.
I Love Lucy. You've got some explaining to do. Never said. He's never said it ever, not once.
Like iconic lines. There was another one I saw, Risky. I never saw Risky Business. I'm terrible with film, guys. Just get used to it. But where he's Tom Cruise is he's in the white t-shirt and the socks, his dance scene. And there's a whole thing about like everybody said he wore sunglasses.
Well, it's also people do the costumes for Halloween. Everyone's adaptation of that costume is the big white t-shirt, socks, and sunglasses.
Didn't he in the dance take them off like as a move?
In my head, of course.
Right.
That's how I remember. I remember it with sunglasses, and I saw it when I was sort of young, and I just remember that scene. It's like I didn't get it. It was a very sexual movie.
Right.
But I remember that scene. I remember sunglasses, but guess what, y'all?
Never happened. No sunglasses ever present in that scene. Now, I really encourage you all, if you're hearing any of these and one or two of them strikes you as like, wait, what? Seriously, go down this rabbit hole for your own. We have time, folks.
Yeah.
We're in quarantine.
And reach out to us too on our comments, DM us
please.
At the SOS Pod on our YouTube. Tell us your favorite ones because these are crazy. Other movie ones, but before we move on, like Forrest Gump, the life is like a box of chocolates line. That's like iconic. Life is like a box of chocolates.
Yeah,
that's not the line. He said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Why would he put it in past tense?
because it's like he's telling the story. It's his like
narrated
at the bus stop. It's like, but still, it's like
it's all
it's life is like a box of chocolates. I feel like every merch
weird.
ever,
Yeah.
Is there Forrest Gump merch?
I know, but like, I mean, honestly, merch from movies in the 90s was a thing. There's like Sleepless in Seattle merch everywhere.
Mugs and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Caps. That's the thing. But I think one, and we were describing this in our show notes, but a huge one, and that I can't wrap my head around at all, because this is something that everyone's just making up, is that there's a movie, right, that everyone knows happened, and it's called Shazaam, and it starts Sinbad as a genie. A late 90s movie, Shazaam.
Even
Sinbad
Kenny,
as a genie.
our guest last week, you guys remember we introed this episode.
Right,
he said he remembers that.
If you
he's what? He's not a millennial.
No, he's not a millennial. He remembers this Shazaam in the late 90s. He's like, yeah, Shazaam with Sinbad. Yeah, never happened. Everyone remembers like seeing Sinbad in the genie costume. I can remember it, and we're all making it up. And how can you tell us that?
So it's a movie with Shaq?
There's a movie with Shaq called Kazam.
I remember the promos.
Yeah, it's Shaq and it's called Kazam. But like, I don't know. It's like,
it's specific. The fact that it's not just, the title was different or, the actor was different. When it's two random separate things that everyone remembers both being true. Like,
Sinbad's not a basketball player, and like, we're not confusing Space Jam and
right
Kazam where I don't know.
I honestly, my dream, what I really hope happens after we die, is that before we go wherever we're going, we get to find all this out. Like my dream is like right before, like I pass, and then somebody's like, just like, guess what, this and this and this and this is actually what happened, and this is what happened, and like, even down to stuff like, guess what, when you were 6, you and Alissa actually played on the same playground before, but you didn't meet again until you were 26.
Oh my God. I think about that.
I want to know those things that you'll never know. And I wonder if when you're dead, if you're all of a sudden all knowing like that, I wonder if you ever get to figure it out.
I know. Well, this is the thing too. Like I always think, but I think back because me and Ryan are like almost the same age, and our moms were both in New York same time pregnant, like if they went into a baby store together same time, or like took a class or like
that's crazy,
it's just bizarre. I remember reading this too or I looked this up about Mandela effects now and how technology affects this, and how just to have a little bit of clarity of maybe how it comes from, or where some of our brain of how it works a little bit. And in an article on Quartz, which is like a really popular like emailing sharing site that I found, Stevie Borello writes, technology is making it harder to acknowledge instances of the Mandela effect. We live in an era in which we are all encouraged to believe our own misconceptions and reifying feedback loops, especially with websites that create communities around misinformation. This selective exposure has been studied and has shown that we are more likely to remember false events when they fit into our own pre-existing beliefs and opinions. And this has nothing to do with like movies, but this is more like conspiracies, I feel like. One instance of this is a fake photo of former President George W. Bush on vacation with baseball player Roger Clemens during Hurricane Katrina. Half of the people who saw the photo, and I remember this photo, half of the people who saw this photo believed it actually happened, with liberals being twice as likely to think it was real. And I'm a liberal, I remember, and it's not real, it's fake. In another case, conservatives were more likely than liberals to remember seeing Obama shake hands with former Iranian President Ahmadinejad, sorry, which was also a fake photo. Even without imagery, 44% of Republicans mistakenly believe that Donald Trump repealed Obamacare, as he repeatedly promised to do on campaign trail in December 2017 poll.
44% of Republicans said that they believed he repealed it?
Yeah. And it's also, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a lot of people think that like the wall is like up and running the way he said it was.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. See, yeah. I mean, there is that's.
I mean, there are borders.
There are a lot of and our
It's
minds
not
are
the wall.
so malleable and unpredictable, and they're not dependable. Like, the least, or sorry, what do they say in crime scenes? Like the least dependable witnesses are the eyewitnesses, because they had so much adrenaline. They were in the moment. Things happen fast.
Yep.
If you witness something that crazy, your memory isn't as reliable.
Yeah.
And so that is something to consider. Like, yeah, if we believe like that, it's really interesting when you bring it into political frame where like, oh, of course Bush is golfing with he would be like, it's way easier to believe that if you don't support that candidate, or, I remember that picture of Obama.
Right. Yeah.
Like that didn't happen either.
Yep.
And it does make this is why I think these things are important to consider, because even if you come to the conclusion in your mind, like, no, this is all bullshit, it makes you really think about like, okay, what are the things that I believe? And when I hear something on the news or when I see it, why do I believe it? Do I believe it because of the sources and the people saying it? Or do I believe it because it fits into my other beliefs? It's crazy.
But then again, what's our agenda with believing that hello,
Right.
Clarice?
Right.
happened?
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
then
There's some with no agenda behind it.
right. Why would a 12-year-old want to remember seeing someone get run over by a tank?
Right,
Why would
exactly.
that many 12-year-olds want to remember? Not like the one who turned out to be a serial killer.
Right.
But like, why do all these people, some of these are like the brand and logo ones, I'm more inclined to be like, even with what I think about Oscar Mayer, those ones to me have less legs than than even the song ones, because I know the Mr. Rogers song was in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to the historical events ones, and I don't know.
No, that's weird. There's another one like historical Mother Teresa that I found. A large segment of the population recalls her becoming a saint back in the 1990s. However, it wasn't until 2016 Pope Francis made her a saint in 2016. But I mean, my whole life, I've known Mother Teresa as a saint, that she was already
but me
sainted.
too. But then I'm like, why? Because I don't ever remember being told that she was, though.
It was just a thing that it was there. It was just a known fact. Like I don't know.
So weird.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of another one before I move on to other conspiracy theories. But I remember finding one on Cinderella's castle. Did you ever go to Disney World and Magic Kingdom?
No, in Florida?
Yeah.
No.
So and when I read it, I was like, yeah, that's the entrance. Like
We should
Cinderella's
ask-
castle is the entrance, but no, never has been the main entrance of Magic Kingdom. It's
should
always
ask
been beyond
Desiree.
Main Street, and was never even located ever by the admission turnstiles.
We should ask Desiree. She's one of our previous guests, if you guys remember. But she is the most intense Disney fan that I've ever known in my life.
Maybe the intense Disney fans will remember this correctly, but the
That's
normal
why I'm like, I
the
wanna
normal
ask her.
plebes would think that it was the main entrance. But that blew my mind when I read that.
Weird.
But I love conspiracy theories, and
yeah, it's fun to twist your mind. I mean, why is it looked upon as crazy to consider these things, but not to enjoy and watch movies like, oh my gosh, what's that movie where he's in a simulated reality the whole time and it turns out he's being watched? And
Truman Show.
Truman Show. Like those are the same concepts. And so it's like, I really think that there's a lot of propaganda and a lot of interest in not for the Mandela Effect, because this is like a weird memory thing, but like in a lot of conspiracy theories, I think there's a lot of interest in people of power, whether they're politicians or not, to keep the main public from talking about these things and to discredit those who do.
Yep.
And there's like a whole thing that I saw where it was Walt Disney, these big cartoon brands like Disney, I think it was like Looney Tunes Network or something like that. They were all given money to make aliens to depict in cartoons that those who believe in aliens are crazy. That's when the tinfoil hat thing started happening. It became laughable to talk about aliens. It became, and there were always little green men. And, and it's like this massive, like the people who are in control of the imagery and the impression that we have are shaping it. And then it becomes a crazy thing. But in reality, it's like, I think it's crazier. If we use that example, I think it's crazier to think in the entire universe, we are the only planet that has life. I think that's crazier.
Yep.
I don't claim to know any details, but I'm like, how could there not be?
Oh, I believe in aliens.
Me too.
100%. And it's also maybe because my favorite show in the entire world is Roswell. Do you remember that show from like the early 2000s? Have you ever watched that?
Oh, wait. No, there's a Roswell. There's stuff on Netflix about Roswell.
Yeah. Oh, right. Just Roswell in general.
Yeah. No, yeah. The alien thing.
There's a new Roswell. It's like a teen soap, but it's so amazing, and that's what got me into aliens. Ooh. I was like, oh, I'll believe in aliens if they're this hot. That's for sure.
They're like human? Like they're hot?
Yeah, they're like half human, half alien. It's really hot.
Listen,
I have like a weird alien fetish.
I think that's great. I think you should lean into that.
Ryan, get me the probe.
We should move on then to that next, our other conspiracy theories section, right? Yeah. Do you have another Mandela effect before we leave?
Fruit Loops, FROT, Fruit Loops. I thought it was. What the hell? And the OO are like little Fruit Loops. Make the OO in the Fruit Loops. Never knew that. Not in my head.
Yeah. We never, not in my mind.
Not in my mind, not in my life, not in my lifetime.
That's the same thing with Looney Tunes. TOONS.
Oh, yeah. Looney
is
Tunes.
how I remember it, but it's TUNES, like tunes.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the opposite.
Wait, did I get it backwards?
What's the truth? Whatever.
I think the truth is that it's tunes, like the real word tunes. Either way.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I remember it being
OO.
Yeah.
Me too.
See, that's what I'm saying. Dude. I think it's like marketing. I think we're just like, everyone's just like,
I know. Well, now
secret amazing marketers. And we're just like, no, this makes more sense.
The ones that happened earlier in time, like, to me are more interesting because now everybody can change a photo. Everybody can do Photoshop. Everyone can. But like, again, the historical events ones really blow my mind because that's not a Photoshop situation. That's why I'm like the logos and stuff. I'm more likely to be like, I don't know, but some of them, I don't know, man. Just consider things.
Consider things.
Yeah, man.
Think about it. Oh, think about it.
Think about it.
Think about it.
Oh, yeah. That was going to be one of our segments. Maybe we'll get back to that.
This is basically what it is.
Listen, guys, if you really want us to scrap the whole SOS concept and turn it into a conspiracy theories podcast, I'm down.
Think about it with Molly and Alissa.
Yeah.
Think about it. Anywho, I want to go back. I want to go into like conspiracy theories outside of Mandela's because Mandela's kind of make me angry.
Fucking Mandelas. Okay. Aliens. Before
aliens.
My first thing is, and I have gone down recently in recent weeks because we've been locked at home, is Netflix docu-series called Hangar 1, where it goes into the MUFON files. What is it? The Mutual UFO Network. It's like a organization that is bound to no country that is researches all UFO sightings, occurrences, reports, the president's involvement, like all this stuff. And I don't know how many episodes there are, but it is fascinating. Oh my God. And
I haven't seen it.
They have, they have scientists on, they have military people on, they have civilians on, they have every episode focused on a different aspect of it. And sorry, there's a really loud siren.
That's fine. Whatever. Deal with it.
Whatever, man. Deal with it. They do consider in the show, like, if it's true or not. It's not like they're like shoving it down your throat like this happened. They look at both sides, but is actual files that are released.
The alarms they're coming for you. The government's coming for you, Molly.
It's fascinating.
You're telling the truth. You're a truth teller.
I'm a truth teller.
And I want you for it.
That's what this is.
We better, as soon as we started talking about aliens. Yeah?
That's what, yeah? I thought that we were right now. Sirens, dude.
Okay. Continue.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to plug that Netflix doc for people who are into this kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I actually wanted to tell my dad and brother and my mom, but my dad and brother are like super sciencey, and I wanted to tell them about that and get their thoughts on it, because they definitely aren't as willing as I am to consider these things as reality. However, they're both really smart, and I want to know what. Anyway, continue with what do you think about aliens, Alissa?
Well, like I said, I really, really love Roswell. I've been begging before Corona, but I've been begging to go to Roswell, New Mexico. And I've been saying, I want to get weird. And Ryan's like, well, all that's out there is just like weird. It's not like this hub that you think or whatever. And I think it's more desolate. Or is it, Ryan? I've been begging. I want to take a road trip to Roswell.
Dude, I'll
maybe
go.
we will. We've been trying to figure out where to go for our year anniversary coming up, and maybe I'll get real weird with it and go to Roswell.
He's like, this is not what I imagined when I married you.
It really isn't. But I found, where is it? Oh my God. It's not on here anymore.
I see it.
You do?
There's a Mandela Effect happening right now.
Oh my God. This
on
is
July 4th.
I'm lying. Yeah. So, I mean, Roswell, I love, and Area 51 stuff, like when that whole thing with the Area 51 went down with the people storming it. It wasn't, and no one really stormed it.
Yeah, no.
But I love that. But if you know about it, so, okay. So Roswell, let's get back on track. On July 4th, 1947, Mac Brazel went out to his sheep pasture in Roswell, New Mexico, and found some unusual objects, including metallic sticks, foil reflectors, and paper scraps. Since he had no idea what the objects were, he called the local sheriff, who then called the Roswell Army Air Force. The pieces were swiftly taken away in armored trucks. A few days later, the Roswell Daily Record published an article titled RAAF captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region, sparking conspiracy theories that would last decades. Many believe that the pieces found in the field were from an alien ship, even though officials said they were from a broken weather balloon. Years later, it was discovered that the objects were part of a secret military project called Project Mogul, which aimed to eavesdrop on the Soviet Union.
Guys, seriously, watch Hangar. Did I say Hangar 21 before? Because it's Hangar 1. I think I said Hangar 1.
Mandela.
What? Mandela Effect?
Forever Hangar 21.
Forever Hangar 21. Hangar 1 goes into that. Roswell. They actually show like actual photographs, documents, interviews with people. Rumor has it, or non-rumor, I think it's the truth, there are alien bodies that are kept not at Roswell now, but who is it? President, which president was it?
Oh, you remember the decade?
No. It was in the it's all in
We're
Hangar 1,
amazing
okay?
information givers this episode.
I know.
Like, what are we talking about? Whoa, wow.
But like took his friend, who's Robert Gleason, he's an actor from like the 60s or something. Jackie Gleason. He went with, which president was it? Truman. President Truman. To an underground like bunker essentially, and described like these he saw, because he used to be really into talking about UFOs, and Truman was too, and they were really good friends. And he picked him up one night unannounced with no Secret Service with him. No Social Security number. It was crazy. No
Are we
Secret
high?
Service.
Are we on shrooms?
Like in a limo, and they just drove to an undisclosed location in the middle of the night. They had been talking about UFOs earlier that day, golfing together, and took him there, took him inside, showed him, and he described, I think it was like 6 or 8, like clear. They look like coffins, but they're clear, and there were bodies in there. He thought there were humans at first. He then realized there were not, and he's describing them. And then he comes home, and his wife said he couldn't like eat or anything for like weeks, and he was just so shaken up by what he had seen. And there were these. Then it talks about all the threats, all the presidents who have tried to find information. Which presidents were privy to more information than others? I mean, it's really interesting to think about.
Oh, I'm sure they know some stuff.
Oh, yeah. But not all of it. I mean, it's a temporary position. That's why
that's true. I don't think anyone's telling Trump anything. I don't think everyone's bothering him with that. I don't think he can handle that. No.
Or maybe he is one.
But like you were saying, the aliens that could be hiding, like the famous Area 51 in the Nevada desert is a military installation at the Nellis Military Operations Area, but the base quickly became known as the most secretive military site in the world because it does not exist on any map or government site, leading many to craft conspiracy theories. And some believe Area 51 is researching and experimenting on aliens and their spacecraft. More specifically, though, people think that they're studying the crash that I was just talking about in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. And others theorize that the moon landing was staged at Area 51, that the government said that the facility is used to test. Oh, but the government has said that the facility is used to test experimental aircraft for the military. But I mean, even if you don't believe it's like alien related, like they said, it came out that the scraps that guy had found in 1947 was from a project called Project Mogul that was made to eavesdrop on the Soviet Union. So it's like it could be as simple as just like us doing some weird shit against other countries.
Also, like when they say to test. What do you say about aircraft to test?
Yeah, experimental aircraft for the military.
Experimental aircraft. There's a whole thing on that again in Hangar 1.
Oh, I got to.
They're talking
about
how we, there's a lot of belief that we have obtained technology from aliens in the sense of like, but not like stolen it from them, but have a certain arrangement with I'm like laughing at myself saying these things.
An arrangement with aliens?
Yeah, like an arrangement with the aliens, and they gave us some technology because there's a lot of
because it's like, all right, you're like sitting down like the Godfather. All right, alien, let's talk this out.
Listen here, aliens.
I got the
you
sign.
And me are gonna make a deal.
Tell your people to call my people.
But it's like they're describing certain aircraft that existed that the Germans were testing, and that way back in World War II, that surpasses technology that apparently outwardly we even have today. And there was like another element that Bob Lazar, I think he brought up that there was like another element on the elemental table, and
oh, I didn't say anything.
Element 115, yeah, and it was just like. He was laughed at. I think in like the 80s when he came out and said that there was another element and that it wasn't from our planet, and he was laughed at. And then years later, it was proven scientifically. They added element 115 to the table of elements, and like he was proven correct. And Bob Lazar is another person that he's one of the big names in those conspiracies because he kind of a whistleblower, but he's laughed at a lot. That's the thing is like.
That's wild.
A lot of these people who blow the whistle, who were involved in military stuff or governmental situations, they blow the whistle and they turn up dead, or missing, and it's very weird.
Epstein
didn't
Maybe
kill
all
himself.
Those
motherfuckers are aliens.
And Epstein didn't kill himself. Wait, remember that?
Oh my God, Alissa and I had this
jokes.
idea. Okay, that was great. That was a brilliant idea. I think we need to implement it. One time we were talking about how funny it would be if like throughout our episodes of SOS, like over time, we just like really quietly and quickly under our breath would say various conspiracy theories. And so that people would be listening and be like,
what?
Did you hear that? Did you catch that? And play it back. And it's like, we're talking about like astrology. And we're like, yeah, the stars say Hitler escaped. The stars say, and just like infiltrate our episodes with conspiracy.
He cracks us up.
It's so funny to me. It's like a totally unrelated conversation. Like, oh, we're going to talk about naturopathic healing. Aliens are real. And we're...
Well, speaking of Hitler escaping, Molly.
Yeah, speaking of that, I did some research on this situation.
Oh, God, that's
Hitler's death. Okay.
Oh, man.
Listen up, class. Okay. Here we are. Class is in session. I highly recommend watching either of these two things on Amazon Prime Video. One is called The Death of Hitler. One is called Hitler's Great Escape. They're both on Amazon Prime Video. This is not an ad. Not sponsored, but
Not
open
sponsored.
to it.
Open to being sponsored by
Amazon Prime.
Hitler's Great Escape.
Oh,
Brought to
or
you
by
by
Hitler.
Hitler's Great Escape. SOS Molly and Alissa.
Sponsored. Oh my God.
We've got merch for you.
Whatever. Yeah. Whatever works. I think it'd get a lot of listens, or at least whatever. Any press is good press. Okay. They're annoyed with us now. Here we go, guys.
Here we go.
History tells us, obviously, that Hitler committed suicide in his bunker in Berlin. However, many resources, including the History Channel, which I find interesting, point out that this was, in fact, never truly proven. The Nazi soldier who was to identify the body and confirm actually came out later and expressed his doubt that it was actually Hitler. He said he wasn't given a choice at the time, but that he knew the second he laid eyes on the body that it wasn't Hitler. The official documents of that day that included the details of the scene in his bunker have since turned up missing. Multiple governments have tried to gain access to them. Our government, the Soviet, and they're just not there. It is widely believed that Hitler escaped to Argentina with his wife and other high-ranking Nazi officials in 1945. I did not know that there was a massive Nazi presence in Argentina. I mean, this is like widely known. This isn't like a conspiracy, that part of it, but why? And that's weird. It is widely known that South America, specifically Argentina, became a safe haven for thousands of former Nazi party members and SS officers after World War II.
Yeah.
But it is what, let's see. Oh, so my thing is, like, I don't know about the details of if you went to Argentina or not, but like, do we really all think that he didn't have like
a plan?
He didn't have a backup plan.
Right.
Like he committed such atrocities to humanity, and
he would have just given up.
Like, do you think that he actually didn't and he had literally, I mean, he had access to all resources at that time. Like when he was at the height of his power, like he was, I mean, shit. Do we actually think he didn't have a plan?
And what does history say that he took poison, him and his wife?
So there are two, that he took cyanide pill, that they took cyanide pills,
and their kids
there was a
too?
Gunshot.
What about kid? Why do I feel like there was like his kids were involved?
No, they sent the kids to Argentina in 1930 before the.
So he has
1930, yeah, before any of this started.
I thought his kids died too.
Because that's another thing. The kids were already in Argentina, and there was a report of an unidentified, this like watercraft. It was a submarine, but it submerged off the coast. Where was it? Off the coast of South America. And there were a couple eyewitnesses that identified it. They said that there was a man and a woman got off, and they were trying to figure out what it was, and they reported it and could not find records of it anywhere. Like it wasn't like even in the logs, their country's logs of like watercraft, what's around, what has come up, it just didn't exist. And a bunch of people saw it, and they saw a man and a woman get off. And so, of course, that just fed the whole thing of like, was it Hitler? It says that, let's see. Well, yeah, he had every resource at his disposal. I'm like, regardless of if this was his plan, I'm just like, come on. His ego we all know his ego. I don't know, man. Okay, this is interesting though. British counterintelligence officer Hugh Trevor Roper, he was tasked in 1945 with investigating the fate of Hitler. Like a bunch of countries sent their counterintelligence people to investigate his death because we didn't have proof. Like we were told it, but we didn't. So yeah, this is the British counterintelligence officer. he's quoted in one of his written accounts saying, after doing all his research, I mean, I read a massive article about what he reported, and he's quoted as saying, "Total silence enveloped the unresolved mystery, and this apparent repudiation of past admissions led more than any other cause to the growing belief that Hitler was alive after all." He didn't claim that he was in Argentina or that they knew where he went, but like, of all the stuff that he saw and the silence that enveloped the situation, he's like, most things are pointing to he's still alive. And that was in 1945. It's reported and suspected that he lived in peaceful exile with his family in Argentina and died of natural causes in February of 1962. Yeah. It's I couldn't figure it out. So those two documentaries I mentioned on Amazon Prime, there's also a History Channel docu-series on Netflix, and it's not, one of the episodes is about Hitler. It's not a whole docu-series on Hitler, but can't remember the name of it. I'm sure you can find it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't personally, I'm like, I don't know about Argentina or all that, but I really am like, why? Honestly, especially when they started realizing they're losing and shit's going to shit and you're in your underground. Come on. Like, with everything they had an escape submarine that was called Grey Wolf or something. It was they discovered it in like 2016 in the ocean. It had crashed underwater. People were saying that was his escape plan. So maybe he died in it underwater. I don't know. It's just a lot of stuff. I mean, that's interesting.
You can't put anything past fucking Nazis. Everything they did, all the experiments and everything they still do today.
Right.
Which makes me want to talk about the Denver International Airport next.
Oh my God.
And this is something I looked up, and I wanted to ask Molly because she's from here. She went to college in Denver, and she agrees with everything. And I was like, I'd never known about this. So the Denver International Airport, which is, by the way, twice the size of Manhattan.
Yeah, it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's not easily accessible to downtown Denver or any surrounding cities. It's really weirdly placed.
Yeah, so it's like a hub for conspiracy theories because of how bizarre it is. For starters, the airport was $2 billion over budget. Weird, leading some to believe it has an underground structure that is either used as bunkers or as headquarters for the supposed world controlling group of the Illuminati. I don't know. The Illuminati, I don't know.
I don't know.
I
know there's some weird shit going on, but I don't know about that.
Yeah. Many believe the Denver airport was really created to be a massive fallout shelter for the global elite when the stuff hits the fan. Now, I believe. Others believes the building was built by neo-Nazis because markers and plaques around the airport say it is funded by the New World Airport Commission, but no information can be found about the organization anywhere. Some even say the runways were laid out like a swastika if viewed from above, and the art around the airport is also some people's cause for concern. Most notably, there is a 32-foot sculpture of a horse that fell on its sculptor and killed him.
Murals. That is the ugliest thing. It's a bucking bronco for the Broncos. But yeah, the head of it, while they were putting it up, the head, and it's disgustingly ugly. It's like bright blue with glowing red eyes. Their eyes are like lights. They're red eyes. And the head fell on the sculptor who made it while they were putting it up.
Creepy. And murals around the airport are also really troubling, including image of a Nazi officer in a gas mask and children near a burning building and the devil jumping out of a suitcase. What is that? What is that, Molly? Please explain those.
Oh, I mean, I can't explain them. I can say that they're there because I've seen. I mean, I told Alissa, I told you earlier, but that I've spent more time in that airport than any other because when I was in college, multiple times a year, I was flying back to Washington and back and forth. And I've spent more time there than anything. What I do know is that there's a massive construction site all around it. It's like miles wide. And it's been there at least 12 years because that's when I moved to Denver, I think, 2007, 13 years. And when they were building the Denver airport, they hired various construction companies. They'd have each company do a little bit of work and then let them go or end their contract or whatever, hire a new one, have them do a little bit of work. It was like Manhattan Project type shit. Like no one fully knew what they were working on. And no company does know what they were working on because they only did a little bit of it. And then there are, I think it is acknowledged by the government officially that there are underground, that massive construction site. There are underground structures there, and they said it was supposed to be for the airport. However, their reason for no airport personnel has any access to it. And it's been there. It just sits there. And their reason is that there was a toxic mold situation. That's the official reason given. And there are literally, you still go there. It's completely unfinished. You see half construction done, well, above ground. So it could be finished below ground. Nobody has any access to it. They say toxic mold. I'm sorry, what? Even if that's the situation and you're not using it, why is it still there? Why do presidents always happen to be, quote unquote, passing through Denver when some weird shit's about to go down? Obama was passing through Denver when forget the name of the meteor, it starts with an E, in 2016 or 11 or something. It came really close to Earth, and we knew it was coming. Obviously, astronomers knew it was coming, but it was going to come alarmingly close to Earth. And Obama was just passing through Denver on that day, the very day that it happened. And there were other things. I remember like Obama and other presidents being. So I think for sure it's like an underground. I mean, we all have to know the government has like contingency plans and an underground thing for the governmental elite. Denver as a location makes sense. There's Cheyenne Mountain. Do you know that place? Mm-mm. It's like one of the biggest. It's publicly known. It's like I don't even know what they call it. Let me see. It's like an underground. It's built into the side of a mountain, and it's just like high security for our government. It's known about, but of course, like no one can get into it. That's another one people should research if you're down with this stuff.
Cheyenne
the
Mountain.
Denver airport. Yeah, Cheyenne Mountain. I'm gonna look this up real quick to see what they even call it. But yeah, that airport is got some stuff going on.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Wait, what the hell is the New World Airport Commission?
I don't even know. Oh, the Cheyenne Mountain Complex is a military installation and defensive bunker. It's in Colorado, next to the city of Colorado Springs. The Cheyenne Mountain Air Force Station, which hosts, let's see. Oh, yeah, it's just basically that's military installation and defensive bunker, but like,
it's just super top secret.
It's steel door, like it can sustain a nuclear blast directly to the mountain itself and survive it. So it's not so much a thing of like, why did people create these things? Because we're all afraid of nuclear fallout, but like, what are they actually being used for when there's no nuclear war happening?
Right. They can say it's a bunker all they want, but what is it actually being used for?
And the thing is, I'm not convinced that like, because there's a bunch of people that work there, but I don't think it's one of those things where everybody who works there knows everything. You know what I mean? It's like you have you're told what your job is, why you're there, and it's for, national security. I work at this bunker and I have to do this paperwork at my desk. And it's kind of like that, those construction companies being hired to do a little bit of something. You don't know the big picture of what you're working on.
Yeah, they won't. They'll only tell you what's your, nothing above your pay grade.
Right.
Yikes.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, before we move on to some coronavirus ones, I know there's one conspiracy theory that oh my God, again, mentioning Shane Dawson, he did a whole video on this, but it's crazy. I don't know if you noticed it, but there's some in my hometown as well. Like there will be a block, and I think someone on Reddit was, the first person to bring this up, but there are blocks where you'll see 2 mattress firms on the same block. And then you turn the corner and then there'll be 2 more. And it's like why? Is there that much of a demand for mattresses, or is it a money laundering scheme?
I mean, they're only taking business away from themselves if they have one two on each
It's
block.
really creepy. And they say it's like
weird.
The high concentration in certain areas, especially in Chicago. And like thousands are sharing it online of their own pictures of mattress firm stores within a half a mile of each other, and sometimes just right across the street from each other.
Weird.
And I did a little bit of digging on this, and like, it's not money laundering. Well, there's conspiracies of what it actually is, but it's like this bigger company that bought mattress firm, and they just bought literally, like, they bought Sleepy's, they bought out Temper Sealy, but there's like lawsuits going on. It's just like there are lawsuits, and there is fraud that's happening with like the larger company that bought them out. But
like,
it's
what?
I don't know. It's I still think it's fucking right. They're right across the street from each other. But that's just
really
me.
weird.
That's a whole wormhole though. Some coronavirus conspiracies that are like,
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, what I think Trump has even put some out there that like China started it on purpose, and
right. Like I think people get crazy with, because I believe as its own conspiracy theory or just interesting thing, 5G on its own is a thing. I don't.
Oh, right. People think 5G created coronavirus.
Yeah, electromagnetic forces cannot create a virus.
Yeah, that's one of them. It's like, so people believe that the 5G created the coronavirus, but it's biologically impossible for viruses to be spread using the electromagnetic spectrum. The latter are waves and photons, while the former are biological particles composed of proteins and nucleic acid. This is avidly promoted by anti-vaccine activists who have long been spreading fears about electromagnetic radiation, egged by the Kremlin. It's worth repeating that the World Health Organization points out that viruses cannot travel on mobile networks, and that COVID-19 is spreading rapidly in many countries that don't have 5G networks, which has led to cell phone towers being set on fire in the UK and elsewhere. So Jesus.
See, but what I'm wondering about that is, because 5G, I think is dangerous, and I think there's a lot of shadiness surrounding 5G, not in relation to the coronavirus.
Yeah.
But I know that that's a massive thing that people believe, and so is that why the towers are being torn down? Because of 5G, not because of the virus?
Well, it's more recent, I think, and I know it's a big online thing with anti-vaxxers saying it's 5G. It's 5G coronavirus. That's why, they just want something to make themselves feel better.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of the cell towers being set on fire are recent. There was a link, but I'll try and find it and put it in the show notes of like the articles about them being set on fire. I mean, maybe it could be, I don't know, more just about 5G in general.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a lot of people that believe that coronavirus doesn't exist.
See, I think where people are I'm just like, clearly it exists. Clearly there's a virus out there. There's something like, one of my best friends, Kelly, is a nurse. She's like on the front lines. She flew out to the East Coast to deal with it in the heat of the situation. And she was telling me what it's like in the hot, like, yeah, there's something that is killing people. Okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
No. I was gonna say there's a time and a place for your conspiracy theories, and it's like we said before, it's just believe in your sources. Like, when you see it with your own eyes, and people, like I've known people that have passed already, and it's just like, I don't know, when you're believing people like Alex Jones from InfoWars. Do you know who Alex Jones is?
Was he approached in an airport once and got in this? Yeah.
I think him and Bernie got into an airport once. Mm-hmm. He approached Bernie at an airport.
Yeah.
Or was it? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and he looked like an idiot.
He's the worst. Yeah, he's the one that's saying it's a plot by the globalist elite to take away our freedoms.
See, honestly, I don't like him at all. I'm more inclined to believe that than to believe anything about 5G with coronavirus.
Right,
I think
right.
Coronavirus is real. It's happening, for sure. But I'm not convinced as to why it's happening.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I don't know. It's what makes sense to me. If there's any conspiracy theory about what created it, I think Mother Nature created it to kill us because we are a virus to this planet.
One of my favorite, I think my favorite social media play on this whole on coronavirus in all this quarantine time. You know, everyone's putting quarantine content and
yeah.
It was hilarious. I will find it and I will put it in our stories because it's this guy. He does impressions of anything. He's done impressions of colors. Like, this is what green's face looks like. Like, he does weird shit. But he did an impression of Mother Earth, and that shit cracked me up.
Wait, I think
hard.
I saw that. Did you send it to me? Or maybe I just saw it separate.
I did. Yes, I did. I sent it to people. It was like, he's just like being as if he's Mother Earth, talking to his friends about how he's like gotten sick of recent years. He's like, it started like 1,000 or no, maybe more. Yeah, more years ago. It started when I created humans, and like which was a joke with my boyfriend, but then like I created them and like,
and you're like obsessed with me.
At the end of it, it's not even ruining it. It's funny anyway. I'll put it up there. But at the end, he's just like, yeah, I'm just like, you know, it's really become detrimental to my health. And I just, is this bad? I think I'm going to kill them all. Is it bad? I think I'm going to kill them all. I think I want to kill them. It's so funny.
That's what I truly believe.
Oh
I feel
God.
like more. I mean, that's one of the theories up there for me. Is just like,
yeah,
you know, population control by Mother Nature herself instead of like a country. Because I don't,
so
you know, because
I
don't know.
I know. I don't either. I don't have like a developed personal theory on this at all. Like I said, I like to consider crazy things. I have certain crazy things that I'm like, that shit's crazy and I don't believe it. Like the 5G with coronavirus. I'll go into deep with some 5G shit though, like for sure.
I don't know much about it, but I know that it's not the best for us.
Yeah. I've watched a bunch of stuff on it. I'm not like I can't speak eloquently on it, but everything I've watched, I've been like, ugh. But I don't know. But yeah, the corona, I don't know. I do have like, this isn't about a conspiracy thing, but like I have days now where I'm just like, stop and be like, this, it's like still sinking into me how bizarre this is. Never in our lifetime or anyone who's alive, the entire planet. This isn't just like, oh, the U.S. is going through some the entire planet shut down. Like, this is hilarious and bizarre. And what is happening?
I know. I'm sorry. I'm speechless because it's. What can you even say? I'll be FaceTiming with my friends or talking to Ryan, and we'll just start laughing at the world. It's like, what the fuck is this world right now?
When we talk about how our launch party was in January, my birthday was in January, just a couple months ago. And if someone would have been like, okay, there's a massive pandemic and at least LA, well, the whole world's going to shut down. LA is going to they've extended it now through the summer. Possibly through the summer be on lockdown. That's about 5 months in total. And this many people are going to die, and you're going to need to be wearing masks in every store, and you're going to have to line up outside the grocery store, and there's going to be plexiglass things in between you and every person you. I would
and
be
you're
like,
going to be relying on government money to pay your rent.
What? Yeah. You'll be fully on unemployment. You'll be like, you'll lose both your job. I mean, I really would have just been like, this is a joke. This is a joke. And if it's not a joke, it's going to last for a month. And if it's any 5 months, what?
Yeah. And if it's any conspiracy theory you believe in the fact that our government is failing us and we don't really have leadership.
It's not so much a conspiracy as a proven fact.
It's just the way it is.
Just a fact. No longer a theory. Just like evolution.
Jesus Christmas.
You know what's also funny to think about is the things that were previously considered crazy that are actually in fact now, like the like gravity, that was considered crazy. The world is round. That's crazy. We revolve around the sun, not it around us. That's crazy. Like so many things.
Elvis is alive.
We still need to do. You're just gonna.
Moon landing was fake.
Yeah. Okay, guys, this is gonna be a thing between us and our SOS fam, the ones that are the real true fans who stick around.
The OG.
It's going to be happening forever from now on. And it's going to be a thing where 5 years down the road, people are going to be like, let's go back and find all the hidden messages in the SOS episode.
Paul McCartney is dead.
Oh, my God.
Oh, well, again, reach out to us if you have some fun Mandela effects or conspiracy theories of your own, and maybe we'll cover it in another little epi.
And please don't hesitate to tell us if you yourself have been abducted by aliens and you would like to tell your story for the first time.
Or if you've had sex with one. I'd really like to hear that one.
If you've had an anal probe.
I mean,
well, I need to be more
just
specific
any
there.
old anal probe.
Not just any old probe. Oh my God. Yeah, well, here we are. This is today's world, okay?
Anywho, for our
if you're
charity
not thinking for yourself, if you're not, oh yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the charity nonprofit section.
I was like, what can we find that really goes with anal probes? But I was like, oh, you were researching things and trying to find out the truth. And I was like, let's shout out a research group that's done a lot of good for coronavirus, and that's the QBI Coronavirus Research Group. They are a group of researchers who were the first to extensively map out the genome of COVID-19 and discover that the virus interacts with 332 human host proteins. The team subsequently characterized the in vitro antiviral potential of 75 of these drug compounds. I can't talk ever. I realize I can never talk.
Ever.
Accomplishing, and I'm an actor that reads scripts. Excellent. Accomplishing in a matter of weeks what usually takes years. Beyond COVID-19, with an additional funding and research, their unique and groundbreaking approach can have a pan-pathogenic applications apply to any disease, regardless of the pathogenic pathway. To learn more and donate, please visit qbi.ucsf.edu.
Brilliant. Thank you for that eloquent reading,
Holy
Alissa.
crap.
And for that
what
research.
is wrong with me?
Look, we're all just losing it.
Maybe
is what it is.
Maybe I'm going to start a conspiracy theory that I'm dyslexic.
Oh, I believe it.
I believe it.
You have your
I've
first-
seen you read.
Guys, get excited because we have our first recurring guest next week, and it is all of your favorite guests that we have ever had.
Yeah. As of right now.
Yes. So, as nearly every damn commercial has been saying these days, we're living in uncertain and challenging times.
Yeah.
However, we have just the guest to lift us up and guide us through it all. Your favorite guest and astrologer friend, Jordan Schomer, is back for round 2 to tell us what the stars have to say about the planet's collective SOS moment. What is happening? What is happening?
As we were just saying.
Even if we can't, it's not like she knows why, but what she explained to us before, like even in regards to her dad's death, like you just ask yourself, why? And she's like, the biggest comfort I receive from studying astrology is I still don't know why, but I understand that there is a why.
Yeah.
And that's been enough. And so when we talk about what the state the world is in right now, it's not like she like some kind of mystic and can come in and be like, this is why. But she can at least give context to like, well, there is a reason. Mm-hmm. And, you all loved her before. She's very insightful. She's very sincere. I'm excited to have her back.
I'm so excited to have her back too. It's going to be so fun. Mm-hmm. And we want most of our episodes to be escapes, but like, we're going to touch on a little bit of, where we're at now because we just have to. And we're still going to make it light and fun and bring you some good insight from someone who knows what they're talking about. But anyway, fam, please follow us on IG and Twitter at the SOS Pod. Subscribe and review on YouTube, on iTunes, on Spotify, Google, and more. Leave that review. It helps us in the algorithm and it helps us reach out to more people. If you like us, I think you do. If you're lasting all the way through the end of this episode, cool.
Mm-hmm.
We love you guys. Until next time, here's to turning meltdowns into magic.